The shocking truth behind my ex's unexpected return. Hello Reddit eyes plus here. I never expected to see her again. After our marriage ended in a messy whirlwind of accusations and shattered dreams, Emily vanished from my life as if she never existed. For 3 years, I had rebuilt myself brick by brick, finding solace in quiet routines and the steady rhythm of work. But on an otherwise uneventful Tuesday night, there she was, standing on my porch with a suitcase and a look that could curdle milk. "What are you doing here?" I asked, barely able to keep the door from slamming shut. Emily shifted on her feet, her eyes darting nervously. "I need to talk to you, James. It's important." Important. The last time she had used that word was when she confessed to her affair, the one that had gutted our marriage and left me questioning every decision I had ever made. Against my better judgment, I stepped aside, letting her into the home I'd worked so hard to make my sanctuary. She looked around, her gaze lingering on the small but comfortable living room. "You've redecorated?" she said, her voice tinged with nostalgia. "I had to," I replied coldly. "Too many memories." Emily flinched but didn't respond. Instead, she set her suitcase down and sat on the edge of the couch. I stayed standing, arms crossed, waiting for her to explain. "I messed up, James. I know that," she began, her voice trembling. "Leaving you was the worst mistake of my life." I couldn't suppress a bitter laugh. "And you've come all this way just to tell me that?" "No," she said, shaking her head. I need your help." Here it was, the real reason she'd come back. Part of me wanted to throw her out, but curiosity and some lingering ghost of the love we once shared kept me rooted in place. "What kind of help?" I asked, my voice sharp. Emily took a deep breath, and then the words spilled out. "I'm in trouble, James. Serious trouble. After we split, I got involved with someone. He seemed charming at first, but he turned out to be dangerous, controlling. And now he's after me." I stared at her, unsure whether to believe her. Emily had always been a good storyteller, and I couldn't help but wonder if this was just another performance. "Why come to me?" I asked. "Surely you have friends, family, someone else you can turn to." Her eyes filled with tears, and for a moment, I saw a glimpse of the Emily I had once loved. "You're the only person I can trust," she said. "The only one who'd believe me." Against my better judgment, I agreed to let her stay for the night. She looked relieved but still on edge, constantly glancing at the windows as if expecting her ex to burst through at any moment. The next morning, I woke up to find her gone. At first, I thought she had left, but then I noticed my laptop was missing, along with a folder of important documents from my desk. Panic set in as I realized she had used me. Again. Before I could decide my next move, my phone buzzed with a text. It was from an unknown number, but the message was chilling. "Thanks for the info, James. You've been a big help." I'd been played, but by who? Emily or the mysterious man she'd mentioned? The betrayal burned hotter than before, but it was quickly replaced by determination. If Emily thought she could waltz back into my life, stir up chaos, and disappear again, she was sorely mistaken. I spent the day making calls and digging into everything I knew about her. What I discovered was more shocking than anything I had imagined. Emily's new ex wasn't just dangerous. He was a con artist, wanted in several states for fraud and identity theft. And now, thanks to her, I was caught in his crosshairs. As night fell, I heard a knock at the door. My heart raced as I opened it, half expecting Emily or someone worse. Instead, it was a detective. "James Carter?" he asked, flashing his badge. "We need to talk about Emily." For the next hour, I sat in stunned silence as the detective explained that Emily had been working with the con artist, not against him. Their scheme? To steal my identity and drain my accounts. But somewhere along the way, their partnership had soured, and now she was on the run, with both of us as potential targets. As the detective left, I realized 2 things. I couldn't trust Emily, but I also couldn't ignore the danger she had brought to my doorstep. If I wanted to protect myself and put an end to this nightmare, I'd have to confront her and her accomplice head on. The next few days were a blur of planning and paranoia. When Emily finally resurfaced, it wasn't at my door, but in a dingy motel 2 towns over. I found her there, cornered and desperate. She broke down the moment she saw me, swearing she hadn't meant for any of this to happen. But her words no longer held power over me. "Save it," I said. "You've dragged me into your mess, and now we're both paying for it." Together, we devised a plan to lure her accomplice out and turn him over to the authorities. It was risky, but it worked. By the end of the week, the con artist was behind bars, and Emily was gone. This time, for good. In the aftermath, I felt a strange mix of relief and sadness. Emily's unexpected return had reopened old wounds, but it had also reminded me of how far I'd come since our marriage ended. And as I stood on my porch, watching the sunset, I realized that some doors are meant to stay closed, no matter who tries to walk back through them.